Hello and welcome to the new interview of the week, Adam. My name is Adrian,
My name is Sami.
and today we are delighted to have with us a PLL team. How are you, Nino?
Hi, I'm great. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm very excited to speak about Web3 and Apelon as soon as possible. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's quite an honor to have a PLL with us. I think that we will kind of start with the first question. The first question is an attractive question, something like I think that you can answer in only one phrase. So, if you could describe a billion in only one phrase, what would you say?
I would say Apelon is a Web3 development platform. So, it's a tool which allows you to build Web3 applications.
Wow, that's perfect. And now, if you want, you can explain it more in deeper its aspect of what is a billion really.
Right now, Apelon is a tool which takes the complexity of the blockchain and allows developers to develop with their Web2 knowledge. So basically, you can come and use our APIs without really understanding what all the blockchain things do in the background. We take care of that complexity, and we serve you APIs as simple as like you would build in Web2. So, for example, if you want to store a photo to Web3 storage to IPFS, you simply call our function from the SDK, you push the photo, and we take care for everything in the background. So the photo is actually then pinned on the blockchain and stored in the IPFS. So it's Web3 storage. And the same goes for all the services developers might need to build Web3 apps, websites, etc.
Well, that's really, and you have a very amazing project. And yeah, we are going to the next question. Sami, can you?
Okay, Nino, thank you for the response. Now, for the people in the interview, please, can you exactly explain what is the Web3?
So on the Web3, it is hard to give one single definition. We're still, everyone working in Web3 is still trying to agree what this definition could be. But we know what we want, so we know where we're driving towards. And what we don't want is something we learned from Web2. It's the fact that users on central platforms like Facebook, Google, etc., don't have any privacy. The information is centralized. You need permission to enter, such platforms. You need some sort of trust to get, from the central platform to enter. And now if we boil down deeper on what do all these words actually mean, it boils down to the fact that if today Mark Zuckerberg decides that he will, I don't know, flip the gender of all the users on Facebook, he can actually do this. So it's not so much the question about whether it's legal to do it or whether it's ethical to do it. It's the question of ability. So like if today the CEO of Facebook can change all the data of all the users, and it's possible for him to do that, we don't want that. It means it's centralized and the data is there, and it's always open for some sort of breach. While in Web3, if let's say Facebook would be built on principles of Web3, there would be no ability, no function that the CEO could call and do a drastic change for all the users. So this is the core difference which everyone has to understand. There's no clear definition. It's mostly about what someone is able to do. And with Web3, CEOs or governments or anyone are unable to do drastic, huge things on platforms that follow Web3 principles. This would be the simplest explanation that I usually use to explain it. So yeah.
Yeah. So to clarify, Web3 could be defined as a platform where your data is really yours and not from a big server, like, for example, Instagram, Facebook. It's
exactly.
That?
Yeah. So, for example, let's say if today we're building Instagram on Web3, all the photos. So, first thing you do when you join Instagram is your account, right? Which is like your identity. And in Web3, your identity is kind of connected with your wallet. So it's, on the blockchain, and it's trying to be interoperable between different blockchains. So if you would log into, let's say, Web3 Instagram clone, you would use this identity which you already created. So you wouldn't, reset your password and username for every single platform, but you have this detached identity on the blockchain which you use to move between Web3 platforms, like, for example, Instagram. So once you log into Instagram using this decentralized identity, shorter, and you start uploading pictures, well, right now what happens is those pictures go to some central server which is owned by Instagram and Facebook, and then there are some sort of terms which define the relationship on those files between you and them as a provider. Essentially they can do whatever they want with those files. The ownership of those files is essentially theirs, while in Web3, if we're again going back to the analogy of Instagram Web3 clone, you would log in with your DID, you would upload a picture, and this picture would get stored on IPFS, and the ownership would be accounted towards your wallet, which is basically means once you're fed up with Instagram, you can move away and take your pictures with you. So this is the future we're trying to build, and what Web3 is bringing.
Yeah, that's very cool. Only you, your wallet, and your identity, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's amazing. And what is the Web3 architecture that Apilon have?
So how we're building stuff is right now we're on Polkadot, and it's very important. So why are we on Polkadot and so on? It's quite a long story, but let's say Polkadot was created as a blockchain with Web3 vision in mind. So if Ethereum is quite really widely used blockchain for different purposes, Polkadot has this really niche perspective of Web3. And its architecture of parachains and how Polkadot works. And I will not go into those details, but essentially every parachain is solving their own thing on a protocol level, right? So right now we have a parachain which solves data storage, we have parachain which solves identity, we have parachain which solves compute power, but none of them are yet thinking about connecting it all together into a single use case, right? So you cannot build a website if you have only identity. Users will be able to log in, but that's it. If you have only storage, well, users can put up the picture, but that's also it. So what Apilon is doing right now, we're building a platform where developers get all those parachains served as services, right? So a developer which is trying to build, let's say, Instagram clone will need identity. We will connect to that parachain, configure it, and do everything that it's needed, and give this developer ability to log in their users. And then same goes for the storage, same goes for the compute, same goes for the automation, same goes for the trading, and all those services and parachains will be connected and simplified to some extent. So developers can then focus just on building the apps.
Oh, that's quite amazing to build a new dApp on Apilon. And we have now a curious question that if I would like to build a new dApp or app on Apilon, what exactly I have to do?
You just create your account. You will have a free plan, which will allow you, a certain amount of registrations for your users and a certain amount of storage. And you can start building your website like you would in Web2. You can use JavaScript, you can use Bootstrap, you can do whatever you want, and once this is built, you can also host this unstoppable, or let's say Web3, or let's say decentralized website or web application on Apilon as well. So the moment you put this website to our platform, it becomes unstoppable. It cannot be removed from the internet, not via some legal maneuvers or not via some hacking. It's simply out there, and that's it. So maybe really simplified, with Apelon and zero blockchain knowledge, users will be able to put WordPress on Web3. So host the WordPress from Web3. This will be possible.
Amazing, thank you. And how does Apelon helps the adoption of Web3 to this world?
Yeah, from the adoption perspective, it's very simple. So right now, if you look at different stages of different blockchains, so I like to compare Polkadot and Cosmos in a way because they're kind of philosophically, close. Ethereum is already a bit forward from that standpoint. But if we want adoption, we want tooling first. So we need to create good tooling, good documentation, good SDKs, good APIs, which open up the spectrum of the amount of developers who enter Web3. Once this happens, then the adoption of users will follow. In order to get, to a simple UI, what has to happen is you have all those parachains, which are now very complex. Each of them is focusing on their own thing, on their own protocol. Then you have, I don't know, Apelon or some other service, which is trying to abstract and simplify those things, which means, we allow more developers to enter, and then you can start tweaking the UI and thinking about, how can we make this more simple for our users, etc. And this brings adoption. So I would say it's not just our specific goal to bring this. It's a common goal from everyone working in Web3 right now to increase the adoption, to build better tools, better services. But from our standpoint, we are specifically focused on adoption because we are using part of our tokens and part of our token utility to utilize proof of adoption, which is like a metric we're introducing to our token, where developers who are building on our platform get rewarded for more users they bring into Web3, which is not correlated. So Apelon is not charging per user that you bring in, but we're doing this just to speed up the Web3 adoption. This is why we're here, and that's why this is our main metric when it comes to token utility.
Yeah, of course, it's one of our goals here in the Wikivan to spread the word of decentralization and Web3. So, do you think, or do you consider that adoption is good for Ethereum and for all the ecosystem, like Polkadot?
So Apelon right now is, let's say, on its infancy of adoption, because we started with additional services in July. So before that, Apelon was mostly focused on data integrity, and now adding, storage, computing, identity, and all those things. We started writing code for this in September. So we're expecting our MVP in Q1 of 2023. So in a few months, you will be able to, join, log in, and start using this. So I can't really talk about adoption. We do have some developers already waiting in queue for our product to be launched, but we are not there yet. And what Polkadot, adoption on Polkadot, I think it could and it should be better. But we also have to understand that Polkadot, even though the project is quite old, Polkadot as it functions, with main chain and parachains, is quite young. I think in December it's going to be like 1 year or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So 1 year is a lot. It's a lot in blockchain years, but I think adoption will follow. So we saw Polkadot recently being on second position of amount of development put in. So Ethereum first, Polkadot second. There are a lot of things happening within Polkadot, changes, and we can see it's moving. So I'm really positive that adoption will follow. And I think adoption might also boom once we solve the interoperability between, let's say, Polkadot and other ecosystems, or maybe just Polkadot and Cosmos. But yeah, right now it could be better. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, it's totally true. I think that we have to make some wishes and yeah, call the mass attention to these amazing structures that we are having today. So yeah, we're coming to the next question. Sami?
Yes, we have seen that you have a token, NCTR. Can you please explain the function of this token?
Yeah, so our token utility white paper is going to be released in the next week. It's finished, so we can talk about it easily. Token ticker is Nectar, and it has different utilities which are going to be introduced in different stages. So what you guys have to understand, most of the team at Apelon are old crypto OGs with a lot of experience. So me personally, I had my own ICO back in 2018. Then I spent 3 years at Economy. And the guys, the other C-level guys also have quite a lot of experience from crypto and having their own ICOs before. So we understand that token utility is not something that you can predict all at once in one single white paper. So I would say like this, in stage one, our token is very simple. It's staking and governance, because we want to bring our developers closer to the product and allow them to, send proposals on which service to add next into our platform. And all the services that are going to be added once the token is released are going to go through governance. So we don't want any, censorship or anything. So as I said, token is going to get its utility in several stages. The first stage is very isolated. The utility is staking and governance. And then we're already going to have our product out. So we're going to learn from first stage from MVP product, and the next stage is going to introduce incentivization for developers. So token is going to get the utility where, all the developers who are working on our platform, we're going to have specific metrics which measure the adoption of the apps they are deploying, and we're going to reward that. So this is the stage 2, and then for stage 3, we're gonna see where this brings us. But the plan is we might be utilizing token, our own token, as the middle ground for payment of the underlying services. So what you have to understand right now, if you're using 3 parachains on Polkadot to build your Web3 product, you have to have 3 different tokens to pay for those services. And those 3 tokens are all volatile. So if you're a developer who's trying to build something serious on Web3, you're going to have Kilt token, Cross token, Phala token in your wallet. And the moment Kilt token is, let's say, consumed because you spend it on your users, you're going to have to go to exchange and buy new tokens, which is a huge problem because the price changes. So in order to fix the pricing and to build a business model where developers always pay the same price on our platform, we're going to utilize our token for that, to balance out whatever is happening with the volatile tokens on the other side. So this is... Sorry.
No, you can talk first.
Yeah, this is really... how to say from top of my head, but tokenomics has like 24 pages, and I invite everyone to check it out in the next week or so, and come back with the questions. But in general, token is here to connect our product with the community. We understand there are no Web3 products with the community, and we want our product, to pivot, or maybe pivot is a strong word, but to adjust its course according to the governance as set by our community. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Of course, we will be aware of the amazing launch of the NCTR token. And of course, you can go to see the white paper on your social networks that we have in the description of the video, of course.
Yes.
So now, curious question: the future plans of Apillion. What are you working on right now? If you can, yeah, tell us.
Uh, so right now it's like this. If you imagine this dashboard, let's say it's very similar to either Firebase or AVS or Google Cloud or something like that. This part is done, right? So we have our design, we have our branding, we have all our design systems in place, and the part where you can register, log in, etc. This is all done. So right now, what we're working on is connecting to all the parachains, which we already figured out how to do with Kilt and specifically with Crust. And we're building our products on that. So how do we handle the pricing? How do we handle the DAD management, right? So if right now we request from Kilt to generate decentralized identity, it is quite complicated on the fact that where do we put this decentralized identity? It's a JSON file, which if a normal user gets it and saves it to their desktop, nothing is going to happen. So we're trying to build an innovation here, which we're internally calling right now a DAD vault or a Kilt vault, where we're going to store those identity for users, encrypted, of course, and allow them to log in as similar as you would like log in with Facebook or log in with Gmail, but still within all the Web3 principles. I think this is the simplest way I can describe this without being too technical.
Yeah.
But in general, this would mean that you can use one decentralized identity to move across whole Polkadot ecosystem, log in, and do it with one click and one password, and just encrypt it on your side in your browser. And just log in. So something like that, without the need of the wallet, of course.
Oh, that's amazing. We can imagine like a kind of WordPress in Apillion in the future with a login with our Polkadot.js wallet to enter our app or something like that.
Yes, exactly like that.
That's the best experience for the user, of course.
Exactly like that. And we have quite a lot of support for this, also from Kilt, also from Parity. So it's not it's a serious project which we're working on. Right now, we're scrambling to find enough developers to handle all the stuff, which is how to say, built around it. But yeah, once we have this, it's gonna come out.
That's amazing project, of course.
Okay, good. So to end, how is Apilon different from other Web3 builders? What makes Apilon unique from other builders?
So let's first say who are the other builders, right? From my perspective, we're constantly compared to either Alchemy or Moralis or Infura, etc. Right? So going really deeper on technical level and understanding who does what in this story, I would say it's like this. So we know Alchemy and Infura, they're setting up nodes in different ecosystems, either Ethereum, Polkadot, Cosmos, or whatever, which then developers can query, right? So they have an API, and a developer can always ask a node from Infura, where is this transaction? What is going on? What is with this wallet? So they don't have to run their own nodes. And we are completely, not touching this story right now. There is enough providers as is who are doing this. We're at least 2 layers above that, right? So if you go to Alchemy or Infura, you are unable to send a photo of yourself or any photo to a Web3 storage. That's how we are different. So on Apilon, you can create your account or 1,000 accounts for your users, and they will be within Web3 principles. They will be decentralized identities, which your users can then use. You can send different photos or information and store it to the blockchain or either decentralized IPFS, and so on and so on. So we're, like I said, higher on the layer, and we're like one layer before the UI. And whatever you build on Apelon, it's within Web3 principles. So yeah, I would say this is the key difference. And I'm not sure if there is any direct competition on Polkadot doing something like very similar to this. But we are looking a lot towards Firebase, which is a solution from Web2, an old solution from Google. They bought this from, I think, 2 guys in a startup. And we are trying to start off similar to Firebase and then build up towards something like massive as AWS or Google Cloud.
Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, we arrived to the final of this interview, and now you can comment anything you want for finish this amazing interview, Nino.
I can what? Add anything?
Yeah, add or comment, whatever you want.
Well, of course, I would invite anyone listening to this, go out, research Web3, find your place in Web3, start using, first applications that are within your niche or within your interest. And this is how adoption will come. Users have to come to a community they feel part of. Maybe it's music, maybe it's art, I don't know. And start, communicating within this community. Join a DAO, start voting, start going to proposals, etc., etc. And this is how adoption will happen. And don't look at blockchain only as speculation, like, where is the price of this token, where is the price of that token, but instead do a lot of research on how blockchain will change our lives. I think this is way more important than where the Bitcoin is right now or whatever. So my message for anyone listening to this would be, do this, research Web3, research blockchain.
Well, that's the best important to create and find your place in this amazing world. So yeah, many thanks to Apellion for participating in this event. You will have all the information about the Apellion in the description, and see you in the next interview. Thank you, Nino.
Thank you very much for having me.